This one's a usual L for Mike Florio, who I can't count how many times this kind of things happen where he's like, this
player I heard
is,
talking to this player.
And he's buying a home right now in LA, and the player like immediately tweets out, I don't know where you're getting that. I'm that player, and the answer is no. So this report right here, Michael Florio said that Kirk Cousins and Kyle Pitts had been in touch about the number 8 jersey because Kirk Cousins would want to wear the number 8 jersey, and that there had been some communication between the two of them. And immediately Kyle Pitts says,
this actually is funny. You guys come up with anything.
Just constant, smoke. We're in smoke season. I know a lot of you say, Smitty, you're contributing to it, but I don't come up with the news. I break it down, and I'm here to shoot it down. I'm here to say this report isn't true. Sometimes there's a rumor about, could Deebo Samuel get traded? A lot of beat writers might be talking about it. A lot of Niner pages might be talking about it. So I go live to talk about that. People are talking about it. Like, I'm not contributing to it like this. I may, get people all upset that I even go live on something, but my job is to go live on anything that's trending at all, even if it's probably not true, because I'll just shoot it down. What do I think is going to ultimately happen here, regardless of Florio's big L in this situation? I do believe Atlanta's a very, very likely landing spot for Kirk Cousins. He for sure does want to go there. Does Atlanta want to go down the road of Kirk Cousins recovering from an Achilles tear, not getting a young rookie into the lineup to progress over the next, decade, versus a Cousins coming in for 2-3 years? Who knows how long he wants to play? Who knows how long he'll be great? Who knows if he'll translate in a different offense right away? A lot of talent to throw to. London would go to the moon. Kyle Pitts would return and go to the moon. Bijan would be absolutely amazing because, number one, he catches the football as good as anybody in the National Football League. I don't care what anybody says or thinks on the topic. We did a Dynasty video on Bijan last night on the Dynasty channel, and He's arguably, of course, Gibbs and Hall need to be in the conversation, but arguably the best running back in Dynasty Fantasy Football. This 5'11", 215-pound monster that was running back 9 in the worst of circumstances, where his head coach, Arthur Smith, wouldn't even put him in goal line situations as the number 2 option. He was literally 3rd in the pecking order, was magnificent during the offseason, catching one-handed touchdown grabs, every other week. If you remember, Bijan, all of his highlights were receptions. They were like receiving touchdowns in camp and in practice, and this guy's a receiving monster. He came out and said not too long ago, Bijan, that he wants to run for 2,000 yards. And I'm not saying I think he does have 2,000 yards. I think he has more than that total, but he's such a good receiver. I don't know that his receiving skills and abilities and capabilities, I don't think the team's going to let him run for 2,000 yards. It's not about is he capable of it? Of course he is. It's like 117 yards a game, I believe. 117.64 yards per game. He could easily do that if he's given, 300 plus carries, but we don't want him to get 300 plus carries. We know he's going to average about 5.5 yards a rip, and at 5.5 a clip, he's going to probably run for about 1450 to 1550 on, let's call it 250 carries. Let's say 255 times 5.6 yards a carry. That's 1428. So he'll average over 5.6, 5.7, 5.8 yards per carry. He'll get about, I would say, somewhere between 1,450 and 1,550 yards. He's probably going to punch in at least 10 to 12 rushing touchdowns. He'll be one of the better goal line backs in the National Football League. And I think people are just going to forget that, he's capable of that because of what they saw last year. What have you done for me lately? Recency bias in a very negative way. 12 to 15 total touchdowns with ease. 80 to 95, maybe even more receptions. What Breece Hall just had, 70 plus receptions. I think easily Bijan's going to have that, if not more. Bijan's going to have, let's call it 80 plus receptions, 700 plus receiving yards, 1450 to 1550 rushing. He's going to be well over 21, 22, maybe even 2,300 total yards. Why am I talking about Bijan so much? Let me get back to Kirk Cousins and say that I believe that Kirk Cousins is going to, if he does land in Atlanta, while I don't know what to make of the future long term, because I love a Penix Jr. or a Bo Nix or even a Fields there long term, I think it doesn't matter for at least year 1 and 2 of Kirk Cousins' reign in Atlanta. I'm very excited about it regardless. I'm excited about Fields going there. I'm excited about Cousins going there. I'm excited about Penix Jr., Bo Nix going to Atlanta. Probably a little bit more bumpy road at the onset as those quarterbacks get adjusted, but maybe not. I mean, look at Stroud. Look at all these quarterbacks that come in now and do great right away. The college game translates really good to the NFL game nowadays, and quarterbacks don't need to learn. They just go trial by fire. And I think Penix Jr. is good enough. Atlanta, regardless, here let me end with this and say, I don't know what to make of the Atlanta situation. I don't think Florio adds or takes away anything from it. Florio being wrong about Kyle Pitts and Cousins communicating this little fiasco right here doesn't mean that Cousins is less likely to go to Atlanta. I want to make that abundantly clear. Just because he botched this, Kyle Pitts probably is saying he's coming, but I did not have that conversation. That's the way I envision him writing that tweet. But at the end of the day, I can say with pretty darn good confidence, the way things unfolded last year, how much pressure is on Arthur Blank, how much pressure is on Zach Robinson and this new coaching staff. And I've made it very, very clear. I love Raheem Morris, defensive-minded head coach from the Los Angeles Rams, bringing over his quarterback coordinator, this guy Zach Robinson, as the new OC. So this is like a McVay coaching tree coming over from the Rams, implementing the Stafford, Puka, Cooper Kupp, Kyron Williams formula. And just watching all these guys kind of play those kinds of roles, I couldn't be more thrilled about what Atlanta is going to bring to the table in 2024. And I think no matter what, whether it's Cousins, whether it's Penix Jr., whether it's Bo Nix, whether it's Fields, even Russell Wilson in the worst case scenario, you're getting one of those guys. I do not think there's a chance in hell the Atlanta Falcons don't massively upgrade into one of those said scenarios, which I think we can all live with. Just give us one of them. That's all we're asking.
From the FantasyFootballShow.com studios, it's the Fantasy Football Show.